What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and then we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10, and then we build them together, or we fix them if they don't quite meet our criteria. Now this week we are talking about the College of Spirits Bard, and we of course ranked that in the earlier video this week, right there in the iCard. So make sure you check that out before watching this one because we go into a lot more detail about each of the abilities there. But if you've already watched that video and you are ready to see just how we can build one of these, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. As you can see, most people who watch this channel are actually not subscribed, and we are trying to shoot for 500 subs by the end of the year. If these people will subscribe and fix the ratio here, we'll get there by like tomorrow. It'll be great. So please help me out. It really helps us out. It helps the channel grow, and it just makes me happy. Also, make sure to share the video with your friends. It really helps us out. And of course, click the bell so that you're notified whenever new videos are uploaded. I do upload twice a week, one for a rating and one for a build. So definitely keep up with the channel. We do a lot of really fun stuff. So let's go ahead. Let's jump into this build. So spoiler alert for last video, but we gave this a 7 out of 10. And so that's pretty good. It's not the best. There are some other subclasses that I feel are better here. It's definitely not bottom of the pack, but it is not the best as far as bards go. But we're gonna make it work. And I think that there are a lot of really cool things that we can do here as a character. So let's go ahead and jump into today's build. For our race, I wanted to stay spoopy here and stay with the scary and Halloween theme here. And so I wanted to take a race from Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. Now, technically these are lineages, and so technically you were another race before and then you were changed into this. If you do something at character creation, it's really weird how these work, but we're going to go with the Hex Blood. Again, this is not necessarily an optimization series, it's just these are some options for you, and just so we leave those open for you, whatever you want to do, but this is one possible outcome that I think that you will really enjoy. So we're going to be the Hex Blood. And this is pretty cool. So basically you were influenced or taken or given to somehow you've had an encounter with hags, an extended encounter with hags, and they have imparted on you some interesting abilities, and possibly have changed your race from whatever you were before. Now, taking it at character creation, we have a little bit of different rules than if you become it later in the campaign, which is very interesting that we now have ways to convert to other races mid-game. That's pretty interesting that that's a thing we can do now. But yeah, if you start out like this, then you get a +2 to one stat and a +1 to another stat, so that's pretty standard. But you do get to choose those stats. It's not even written like it goes to, you know, charisma and constitution or whatever. It says you can do that to any of them, which is great. That's the new lingo they're using, and as of Tasha's, it says that you can do that with any race. So just keep that in mind. This one specifically says it. We'll figure out where those are going later. You get common and one more language, which is very common nowadays as well. One thing to note here is that you are not a humanoid like most creatures. You are actually a fae, which is something that is a little interesting. So if somebody tries to cast something like Hold Person says specifically that you need to be a humanoid. Now there are debates here because technically you will be shaped like a humanoid, but you are a fae. You are not specifically listed as a humanoid. Therefore, Hold Person would not work on you. That's pretty cool. So you're actually immune to the Charm Person, Hold Person. You're immune to those spells by rules as written. DMs may rule otherwise, but rules as written, that's how it works, which is pretty cool, that you have immunity to some of these really common spells. So I guess your friends better watch out because it's not going to be you. So that's pretty cool that you're a fae. You get any 2 skill proficiencies, which is pretty awesome. So we get 5 skill proficiencies at level 1 here because of your class. Now you have this because of your race, and then you also will have it from your background. So that's actually 7 skill proficiencies at level 1. that's pretty great. And then you're going to pick up expertise pretty soon. So that's also really nice. You got a lot of options there. Then in addition, you get 2 more features for being a Hexblood. It's pretty cool. Again, it's not really optimized for Bard specifically, but I think it really works with what we're going for here. And so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So first of all, you get Eerie Token. And so what Eerie Token does is, as a bonus action, you can remove a part of yourself, which is really gross, but it can be like a fingernail or a tooth or a lock of hair or whatever, and you just kind of give it to somebody else. Now, this would lead to some shenanigans, as far as like spying on people, that sort of thing. If you take a lock of your hair and like put it in somebody's pocket or something like that, then you could actually see them later, which we'll talk about what this does here in a minute. But so yeah, this doesn't necessarily have to be to a willing creature, but it'll still work, which is pretty awesome. So until you finish a long rest, you can do one of 2 things with this. So first of all, you can send telepathic messages. So it's basically like a limited sending. You have a 10-mile radius, it's an action, and there's no replies, unfortunately, but you still have the same 25-word restriction. That's pretty cool. Unfortunately, no replies, so all you can do is, if you're the one going into the castle with the rogue, you can tell the people outside what's happening, but they have no way to respond to you. That's unfortunate, but it's not too bad. It's still nice. One-way telepathic is better than nothing, so I'll still take that. The other thing is remote viewing. So this is kind of like Arcane Eye, sort of, or you are sticking a familiar in somebody's pocket, sort of. But you go into a trance as an action for 1 minute, and you can see and hear from your token's position. So if you stuck a piece of your hair in somebody's pocket, you can hear what's going on with them, at least for a minute. They do have to be within 10 miles of you, but again, that's usually okay, just depending on how wide your campaign spans. And then afterwards, it is destroyed. That's still pretty cool. You grow whatever it is you gave back after a long rest. It's cool. It's really cool. So basically, you are the head of communications for your party, allowing them to talk to each other. You can talk to somebody from really far away, and you can spy on people or see what is going on with somebody, as if you were near them or on their person. So that's pretty cool. I really, really like that. I think that adds a lot to our spooky vibe here, that we can just kind of see what's going on all over the place just by plucking. It's really gross, but it's really cool. That's not all, though. We also get Hex and Disguise Self for free. That's pretty cool. We can cast either of those once per day without expending a spell slot. But then, again, better wording here, and talk to your DM about other features that are similar to this, that say you get the ability to cast whatever spell once per day or however many times per day per your whatever modifier. Talk to your DM about updating the rules to where it reads like Van Richten's does and all the other new rules that say you can cast this once per day without a spell slot, but you can then cast it again if you want to using a spell slot. That's fantastic. And so you can cast Hex for free once, and then if you need to use spell slots, if you want to use it again, you can do so and use your first level spell slots to cast it or upcast it, whatever you want to do. So that's pretty neat. I really like that. I think that that's going to be really nice because we're going for a more damagey bard here because we're all spirity and things. I don't think that the aspect of spying is as strong, at least in the spell department for bards. Unfortunately, I don't think that there's much that they do there, at least not any more than other classes can do. So I would say stick more with the being really spoopy and doing damage. That's pretty much what I go for in this one. Again, bards are typically utility, but they can do whatever they want because they're bards. That's it. So that's pretty cool. Let's look at stats here. So of course we're using our modified standard array like we always do. Of course, if your table is different, use whatever your table is. But for this video, we're using the modified standard array that I use at my tables. So 17, 15, 13, 12, 10, and 8. 17, of course, is going into charisma. We want our DC as high as we can go. We want our to hit really good. We want all of those things. So charisma is going to the top. Next, I'm going to take Dex. Dex is good because we're going to have a very low armor class all throughout our lives. We don't really have a whole lot to help with this. There's not a whole lot that we're going to be able to do to make it much better as far as our AC. I do have a way to get a little bit of help somewhat early in the build. We will have some help, but it's not going to be the best. So just don't expect anything too crazy as far as your AC here, but we're going to do our best. Next has to be Constitution at 13. Constitution is something that we want to get as high as we can for concentration checks because we have a lot of really good concentration spells, and also because hit points. So we definitely want as many hit points as we can possibly get with this because we are very squishy. Next, of course, is going to be Wisdom. Wisdom for those Wisdom saving throws that come up all the time. Next is Intelligence, and finally we dump Strength. You don't need to be strong. You just need to be really, really charismatic. It's fine. You can be scrawny and still very, persuasive at the same time, or deceptive, whatever you want to do. It's pretty cool. Then as far as equipment goes, I would recommend grabbing a rapier here, and as soon as you can, grab a hand crossbow. I think a hand crossbow would be really, really nice for you to have for now, possibly going up to something better if you can get it, but I think a hand crossbow is probably going to be your best option for ranged attacks when you're not doing spell attacks. Besides that, you're a little limited as far as your proficiencies, and this build is not going to be one where you pick up any others. So yeah, I think pick up a hand crossbow whenever you can. They're a little expensive, but it'll be worth your time. It's a D6 damage, but you've got range, so I think it's pretty cool. You don't want people all up on you, so yeah, if you can attack from a distance, that'd be great. You get an instrument of your choice. Bagpipes, of course. Nothing could be spookier than somebody walking into a dark alley and there's somebody at the other end playing bagpipes. I'm just saying, that's the scariest thing, and so you've got to do it. It's great. We get leather armor here. Of course, you're going to want to try to get studded leather armor as soon as you possibly can. That'll bump your AC by 1. It's not terribly expensive, so you're going to want to try to get studded leather as soon as you can. You get a dagger for free. But yeah, this puts our AC at 13. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. We will make it a little bit better as we go, but it's never going to be insane on this build. Just, it's a bard. There's not a whole lot we can do about it, but we're going to make it a little better if we can. As far as the equipment goes, that's about it. Next, we can just start taking some levels in Bard. So let's go ahead and jump in. So, Bard 1. Let's go ahead and get this started. At Bard 1, we get Spellcasting and Bardic Inspiration, so we get our lovely spells, which are our main thing that we are looking for here, and of course Bardic Inspiration, which is our second main thing that we're looking for here. So, of course, Bardic Inspiration, bonus action, you can help people out with ability checks, saving throws, or attack rolls, which is pretty cool. Once you get to level 2, it gets a little bit better. We'll talk about that when we get there, but you also get Spellcasting. So, I mentioned in my video on Tuesday that I would talk about spells that work really well per each subclass, so I'm going to go ahead and do that here. We only have first level spells right now because level 1, obviously, but so I suggest a few spells here for this. For cantrips, you only get 2 right now. You'll get 4 total as you go. We will actually pick up several others through something else. You'll see what we do here in a minute. But as far as cantrips, I recommend Mage Hand, Minor Illusion, Prestidigitation, Vicious Mockery. I think those are all really, really good. Obviously, you can make a case for others, and if something fits your specific vibe, of course, take that over what I'm saying here. Again, these are just ideas. But I think that all of those are really useful. Those are really, really good cantrips. I think those are probably your top 4, and they all fit with what you're going for here. As far as spells go, you've got some really good options here. Bane, I think, is a must bring. It definitely fits with your theme, and it's really, really helpful. The other one I think you have to take is Dissonant Whispers. Some psychic damage is pretty nice, and I think it's great. I think it definitely fits with the spirits whispering in people's ears and that like driving them crazy. I think that's really cool. Some other ones that I would recommend, obviously we have Hex and Disguise Self for free, but also Fairy Fire, Healing Word, Silent Image, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, and Unseen Servant. All of those would be really, really helpful for you. At level 2, we get Jack of all trades, Song of Rest, and of course Magical Inspiration. So Jack of all trades, we now have half of our proficiency bonus added to things that we are not proficient in, which is 11 of them because we have 7 proficiencies. Song of Rest, so we can give a little bit of extra healing on a short rest for people who expend hit die, really cool. And then Magical Inspiration, we can now use our inspiration, or at least others can, on damage rolls and healing spell rolls. That's really awesome. That really, really helps out. It really, really helps out the party, and it just makes Bardic Inspiration that much more busted. At level 3, we get our subclass here, and this is where we get a bunch of stuff here. So first of all, we get Guiding Whispers. So we talked about this on Tuesday, of course, but the short version of Guiding Whispers is you get the Guidance cantrip. You have a much longer range, and so that's pretty cool. Having Guidance is pretty nice. It is a one-time use, and it's just on ability rolls, but it could come in clutch. It's pretty cool. I like it. I think it's pretty neat. Then we have our Spiritual Focus, which right now is just more for flavor. I prefer the Taroka deck, but again, you can do whatever you want. Again, you're a storyteller, so you could also be a crystal ball reader. You could be somebody who does that. That's pretty neat. So whatever you want to do, choose what you want. That's all for flavor. And then of course Tales from Beyond. So this is where we choose one of 12 ghost stories. Well, we don't really choose. It's kind of chosen for us by what we roll on our Bardic Inspiration die. So I recommend doing this just at the beginning of your long rests, because it says it resets at the start of a long rest, when you start a long rest. And it doesn't reset again until you start another long rest. So basically what you should do is every night, everybody gather around the campfire and you start searching for some ghost stories, because you do have to have people around. You just, as a bonus action, you can do that, and so you can tell some spooky stories. Don't necessarily impart the story yet, but you can be like, yeah, they told me about such and such, I'll tell you more later. And so I think that's really cool. I think that's really thematic. I think that could lead to some really cool interactions between characters of the person who is this hag cursed individual that's talking to himself, at least it seems, or herself. It seems really weird. So yeah, I think it all fits. You can be the creepy person, and I love it. We also get expertise in 2 skills here, so double your skill proficiency in 2 skills. That's really cool. And we get 2nd level spells. There are some really cool 2nd level spells here that you can take. I like a lot of them, actually. The first one is Crown of Madness. I think Crown of Madness really, really fits here. You're driving people crazy, and I think that's really cool. Of course, Hold Person is really nice. One that I think is a kind of a must-take here is Mirror Image. Really will help you to be a little less squishy, because you create some duplicates of yourself, and there's a chance that the enemy hits the duplicates instead of you. So that's kind of a must-take, at least for me. And then I also recommend Phantasmal Force and Suggestion. Obviously, you're not going to be able to take all of these recommendations over the course, because I'm naming off way more spells than what you can take, but I'm just saying these are what fit the theme best. At Bard 4, we get Bardic Versatility, which is cool, gives us some more options, but we also get an ASI or a feat here, and I want to cap our Charisma out here, but I'm going to take a feat instead first, and then we'll crap out our Charisma. I'm going to take Tough, because we really need help. We really, really need some help. If we take Tough now, we are going to get a total of 40 extra HP over the course of our next 16 levels that we take. So that's pretty cool, because you get 8 now, and then you'll get 2 at every level. So that's pretty neat. I really like that. I think that it's going to be really, really helpful for us to have a little bit of extra survivability. Just remember that you have it. A lot of times people will forget at certain levels and not grab the extra 2 on top of what you rolled plus your constitution. So just remember that you have it. Next, Bard 5. Bard 5 is what I've been shooting for before I even considered thinking about multi-classing, because I want my Bardic Inspiration to be on a short rest. It makes a huge difference. So now we have Font of Inspiration, and I love that. We also have our Bardic Inspiration increased to a D8, and we get some better spells now. We have 3rd level spells. I have a lot here that I really, really like for 3rd level spells for bards here. Dispel Magic, Fear, Feign Death, Hypnotic Pattern, Major Image, Mass Healing Word, Speak with Dead, and Stinking Cloud. All of those will work with what you're going for, and I think that you will. I think you'll have a blast with any of those, any combination of those. So, at level 6, your character starts to notice some power coming from within that maybe he or she didn't notice before. Maybe the hags imparted some of their abilities to you, and now you feel more powerful within yourself. Not so much having to use your spoken word, your ghost stories, you don't have to rely on them to tell your stories. You can do stuff now just by yourself without the spirits. So, as you can imagine, we're going to dip into sorcerer here for a little bit. Very small dip. I'm only here for a couple of levels, and then I'm going right back to bard. I can't take any more than 2 levels of sorcerer because I don't want to miss out on the 18th level ability of getting magical secrets for 9th level spells. I really don't want to miss out on that. So we're not going to. We're going to just take a couple levels here. But I think you can already guess where we're going with the subclass. But we're going with the Shadow Magic Sorcerer. This gives us some more spoopy things that we can do. We of course get spellcasting here, which we'll talk about here in a second. We get Eyes of the Dark, except we only get to use the first part where it extends our dark vision out to 120 feet. So this is one thing that makes it really cool with taking a human, because you gain dark vision if you didn't have dark vision before. We of course had it, but this now doubles our range, so we're still getting some use out of it. But we're not going to get to level 3, so we're not going to get to cast darkness and see through it. That's one of the best things about this subclass, is getting magical darkness that you can see through. But we're not going to get it this time, unfortunately. We also get Strength of the Grave, which is kind of the big reason here. So we get to make a save when we would be knocked down to 0 HP, and we might be knocked down to 1 instead. Very valuable because we are very squishy. So I love that. It's a charisma save for us, so that's helpful as well, because we need that, and that's our best stat. So that's really great. I think that's awesome to take. At first level, for a sorcerer, we get a lot more cantrips. We actually are going to get 4 cantrips here right off the bat. So that's as much as you would normally get throughout your entire career as a bard. You just get that up front with a sorcerer, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to suggest Chill Touch, Infestation, Mind Sliver, Shocking Grasp, and possibly, depending on how much you are relying on your rapier, either Booming Blade or Green Flame Blade. You could use that to do some extra damage if you want to, so just keep that in mind. You are past the first scaling level of cantrips, so it will be doing a little bit of extra damage. It can add on to the damage you're already doing, so definitely look into it. I think that they're really, really cool. Then, first level spells. We only get 2, so I'm going to suggest, I think you kind of know where I'm going to go with this, Absorb Elements or Shield, or both. Definitely take at least one of these because you really need it as a squishy person. You're getting even more squishy because we're only a D6 hit die for these couple of levels, and so you have even less hit points than you would have normally. But so yeah, your AC is low, your HP is low, you don't want to be up in the middle of the fight, so you want Shield just in case, or Absorb Elements, or both, whichever one you want to do. The other 2 spells that I would suggest, at least for flavor, Chaos Bolt. Chaos Bolt is not a good spell, okay? I'm not saying that it is, but it's fun, and so that's what we're going for. And Mage Armor. Mage Armor would be really good. You take off your armor and you actually get a better modifier than studded leather. So that's pretty cool. It's only by 1 different, but still, it's a 8-hour duration that's not concentration. So I think it's worth it. I think it's really, really cool, especially at second level when we are going to get our meta magic here. Well, not meta magic, we get our font of magic. We don't get meta magic, unfortunately. We're not going far enough in. But our font of magic to get our sorcery points, we will be able to create an extra spell slot here because we don't have anything to use our sorcery points on, so we're just going to convert it to a first level spell slot. You essentially get free mage armor every day as far as that goes, or you can cast whatever else you want. You know, you get a free casting of Hex already, so then you could technically have 2 free casts. So basically you're just gonna have an extra first level spell slot to burn. I personally would save this for shield because shield, and you're gonna need it, but that's just me. I think that can add a lot of value, especially when you need to take the defensive position, since otherwise you may not survive. So that is what we are at right now. Here at this level 2, we also are getting 4th level spell slots. We don't have any 4th level spells, but we have 4th level spell slots. So just keep that in mind. You can upcast things now. Bard 6, we get Counter Charm. Counter Charm is, again, one of those abilities that I'm just really disappointed in. I don't think it's all that great, but bards are still insane. So yeah, we also get Spirit Session. Spirit Session gives us the ability to pick up basically 1 extra magical secret, but it's limited in what it can do. You have to have a number of creatures equal to the level of spell that you want to get. It can't be any higher level than your proficiency bonus, and it has to be from necromancy or divination schools. I personally wouldn't really take any of the divination spells. I don't really like them personally, at least for this character. It fits the theme sort of, but I would rather do some damage with this bard. That's just me. But again, you could go full divination if you wanted to. There are some great divination spells out there that you can grab with this. For right now, you can only do 3rd level spells or lower, but that will scale with your proficiency bonus. But just remember, you have to have at least enough people in your seance with you to be able to get a high enough level spell slot. So you'll need at least 5 other people by the time you're really high level to get that 6th level spell. So just keep that in mind. It's a little tough. You have to have a bigger party. You do count as one of them, but you know, make sure you have a party big enough. I would suggest here, Inflict Wounds, Animate Dead, Revivify, Spirit Shroud, Summon Undead, or Vampiric Touch. If you want a divination spell, I guess Mind Spike, I guess. I don't really have a whole lot of those that I really want at this point, so yeah, that's probably the only one that I would take, and even then it's kind of a big question mark behind it because I'm not really super sold on it. Oh well, it is what it is. So now, we have a routine here. We need to tell some ghost stories at night, and then we need to convert spell slots in the morning. That's what you have to do every single day. Just remember that, because otherwise you're missing out on your whole shtick. So just keep that in mind. At Bard 7, we have 4th level spells, although we have 1 5th level spell slot, but no spells to cast on it. And also our Spirit Session also goes up to 4th level spells because our leveling's a little bit off. There I would just take either Blight or Arcane Eye. There's not a whole lot of great ones there, at least at 4th level. Not a huge amount that I would really care about here. Again, I would probably just bring Revivify, but that's just me. Here at 4th level spells for Bard, like almost all of them are good. Our list is a little limited here, but basically everything but Locate Creature, which just is a little situational, but maybe you need it. I don't know. I mean, you've got Charm Monster, Dimension Door, Greater Invisibility, and Polymorph. You're hard pressed to not take those. Those are really, really good. So yeah, I'd be hard pressed to not take those spells. But all of them are really good here. I really like those. Bard 8, level 10 overall. We get another ASI or feat, and now we're going to cap Charisma. So I want to go ahead and get Charisma up to a 20, and then we will bump Constitution to 14. Our con really sucks, but at least we've made it a +2 modifier now, so you get another little boost at hit points over what you had before. Yay. Yeah, that's about as good as it's going to get with this character, unfortunately. Bard 9, level 11. Song of Rest goes up to a D8, and we get 5th level spells, as well as 1 6th level spell slot. For 5th level spells, there are several really good ones. Animate Objects is a great one. You could say that your spirits are inhabiting whatever objects you're animating. I think that's really flavorful. Dominate Person, Hold Monster, Raise Dead, and of course, the ever popular Synaptic Static. That's always a good one. Now, Synaptic Static is a weird one for me because it's basically just Fireball, but different damage type, and also a much higher spell slot. So you may not want to take Synaptic Static, but it's just fun. It's just fun to cast. And so that's why we have it. Level 10, at least for Bard. Level 12 overall. Bardic Inspiration goes up to a D10. Expertise goes to 2 more skills. And then we get Magical Secrets. Now is when things begin to get fun. So yeah, it's not until level 12 here. We did put it off a couple of levels, but it's okay because now we get to choose a lot of really cool things. Remember I talked about the wording being a little weird on this? Talk to your DM, see how your DM rules this if both spells have to be from the same spell list. I personally read that it is worded that way, but talk to your DM, see what he or she says. But if you have to take 2 from, say, the wizard spell list, there's Counterspell and Haste right there. Counterspell and Haste are right there. I don't know what you want from me. If you want to go Cleric, Spiritual Weapon and Spirit Guardians. Spirit Guardians is the ultimate get off of me tool. I think that's really, really nice. It counts for a Bard spell for you. So the DC is going to be pretty good. I like it. I think it's pretty cool, and being able to attack on your bonus action on turns that you are not necessarily going to be giving out Bardic Inspiration is pretty neat. So just having both options out is great. Yeah, you also have Wall of Force now. If you wanted to take that, and Wall of Force is Wall of Force, you could just say that your ghosts are making the wall and people can't see them, and they're hitting the ghosts. So yeah, there's a lot here. I think it's really, really cool. Bard 11, you get 6th level spells and 1 7th level spell slot. There's not a whole lot that I would recommend here, to be honest. My top 3 are going to be Eye Bite, Mass Suggestion, and Otto's Irresistible Dance. At this point, you can make people do the Thriller Dance or the Monster Mash or whatever you want them to do. You can make them do whatever you want. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Bard 12, we finally get another ASI or a feat. I probably should be bumping my Constitution. I probably should, or at least my Dexterity. I'm going to suggest that we don't. I'm going to suggest that we take Warcaster here because we really, really need good concentration checks. Yes, concentration, your Constitution modifier being higher would help, but advantage would help more. So I'm going to opt for Warcaster here. You get a lot of good benefits here. So now you can perform your somatic components while holding your rapier or your hand crossbow. So that's pretty cool. I think that's nice. I think that really, really helps us out. Another one I would suggest as a backup would be Resilient Constitution. The alternative would be to start Sorcerer and then go Bard to get proficiency with Constitution saving throws. That's something to consider. But I personally rather would start Bard here, and of course we always start with the class we're featuring at the moment, at least for right now for this series. And then of course Bardic Versatility. Let's not forget about that. Bard 13, Song of Rest, goes up to a D10. We get 7th level spells and an 8th level spell slot, and then we now can do 5th level spells from our Spirit session. We now can do Force Cage. Force Cage is great. Really, really fun spell. You just say, nope, you're staying in there. Good luck getting out. Prismatic Spray and Resurrection. Resurrection, of course, being very fitting here. And you definitely want something other than Revivify that is a reliable thing. And so, as you take these spells that are like Resurrection and that sort of thing, you can swap out. If you have been sticking to Revivify this whole time, take a spell that's Resurrection, and you can then just swap that out for something else that's more useful to you. So definitely be willing to budge on those. Don't just get stuck necessarily in one spell. It's versatile for a reason, so use that to your advantage. It's really, really helpful. As far as our spirit session, Raise Dead is a thing. Contagion, or if you want scrying really bad, scrying is always a great spell. So if you need that, but again, you're getting it really, really late at level 15, when everybody else could get it much, much earlier. So I probably wouldn't waste the slot on that. Again, Revivify is still right there, or just straight up Raise Dead. Or if you need damage now because you have some other form, Contagion is there too. So definitely consider those. Level 14, Magical Secrets and Mystical Connection. Magical Secrets giving us 7th level spells. You can get Simulacrum now. Simulacrum is dumb. It's really, really, really good. If you don't know about Simulacrum, you may want to look into it. It's a really good spell. Finger of Death, Irresistible Dance, Harm, Heal, Disintegrate, Create Undead, Circle of Death, all of those things. All of those amazing spells. Definitely consider those because they're all really, really nice, and would really, really help with the damage dealt. Again, that's the thing. You'll see bards in the future that I build that are complete, full, sit in the back, not do so much damage. But then you've got this one that can just go out there and go nuts. Any bard can technically do this, but I think we'd like to do this just for the flavor, and so you'll see as we do these builds how some things are in common, but a lot of things are able to be very different, and it all still works for the class. It's really, really cool. Bard 15, level 17 overall. Bardic Inspiration goes to a D12, 8th level spells, and we get a 9th level spell slot here to upcast some things, which is great. We get Dominate Monster here, which is fantastic. Feeble Mind, I definitely would consider taking that. You can say that all the spirits have gotten into the person's mind and taken everything away. Mind Blank, same thing. And Power Word Stun. Power Word Stun to me isn't great because it is a con save, but it's still really cool. But I don't know if it's worth an 8th level spell slot. Just weigh the options. I probably would take the other 3 before I would take Power Word Stun, but that's just me. Bard 16, ASI or Feat. We're bumping con again. We're bumping Constitution one more time. I need it as high as we can go, and it's just not gonna get as high as I want, but it's okay. It's totally fine. Bard 17, Song of Rest is now a D12, and we now have 9th level spells. Basically all of our 9th level spells on our list, except for Foresight, which if you want Foresight, take it, but I would rather take any of the other ones, because you have Mass Polymorph, Power Word Heal, and Power Word Kill, Prismatic Wall, Psychic Scream, and then True Polymorph, of course. These are all fantastic. Obviously, you don't get to take all of them, but all of them are great options, and definitely weigh your options here. I think that's all really, really nice. And finally, to cap it all off, Magical Secrets for 9th level spells. You now have Wish. You get 2 spells though, so I suggest Wish, Weird, and True Resurrection. There are others, but those are my favorite top 3. I'm trying not to make the list too crazy long, but those are my top 3. So that is our build for our College of Spirits Bard. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Next week, we're talking about the College of Creation Bard, and that is going to be a lot of fun. If you want to be not a conjuration wizard, but somebody who can still create things and control things telepathically, sort of, then this may be your ticket. So definitely stick around for that. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And of course, have a great weekend. Stay safe out there, stay healthy, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.